What's up, Watauga? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another week of What's Up, Watauga. I'm here with my co-host. You want to say your name?
Oh, I'm supposed to say my own name? I'm my own independent person. You can't just do it for me.
Every week I do. I feel.
Yeah, I know. You pass it up to me every week, and it feels more awkward every time.
But I feel like it'd be awkward if I said your name. Let's not say your name.
Yeah, they knew who I am. Let's just leave it.
Well, I was saying my name. Did I say my name?
No, you didn't.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Spear here.
We're here
with another Watauga podcast. My co-host, to be determined, yet will remain unnamed. You know,
till he names himself.
True. That was our this week's guest, ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Blake Williams.
Aaron Balake.
Aaron Balake.
Your first name's Aaron?
Yep.
I didn't know that. Thought it was just Blake.
I know. I honestly was confused when he added me on Snapchat because it says Aaron Balake.
Yeah, I thought he just wanted to incorporate the other part of the Key and Peele bit, but
no, man. Key and Peele used my name.
They stole Blake.
They're like, what are the widest names we can think of? And they got it.
They nailed it. Blake, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good today.
That's good.
It's been a good day.
That's good. Jacob, you seem to be an announcement type guy. Do we have any announcements to start the podcast off with?
Not that I know of.
Okay. I assume if you're listening to this, you found us on SoundCloud.
Yeah, I mean, that is one thing. A lot of people have come up to me and said, like, are they on YouTube anymore? I'm like, no. I said that like 3 times. They're not.
They tell us they listen, but then we say it on the podcast that it's not on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, why didn't you tell us? And you're like, well.
So I'm determining whether or not I want to put them on YouTube again.
I mean, if they blow up, you could maybe get something back from it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just kind of a pain. I might do it. Whatever.
Well, okay. You heard it here first, folks. Jacob Minton. Whatever.
We weren't supposed to say my name.
I know. I thought about that, but I felt weird not saying your name.
You f***ed it up, Sam.
Okay. Before every single podcast, Jacob goes, "Try not to curse so much because like I have to bleep it out." And now he's gonna have to bleep that out. So you did that to yourself.
No,
you
I mean
yourself.
he can curse as much as he wants because he has to put in the labor to bleep it.
That's true. I apologize.
Just no one curses but Jacob in this. He just curses the whole thing.
That'd be pretty funny. You have something to say?
Yeah, but I mean, both my parents listen to this.
Oh, shit.
I don't want to just let out.
That's true. We have 2 viewers.
Yeah.
To be honest, both of them are Jacob's parents.
I don't know. I listen. I've listened to all of them.
Sometimes, maybe. They see. That's the thing. People say they listen to all of them.
There's no way.
There's no way. I don't.
So many people tell us that.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, for real. So many people
right now.
So many people tell me that.
No, I'm sure you do, but like you and Travis, I feel like you guys do.
Mm-hmm. And there's some other people that do. I think Dana listens to him a lot.
Yeah, he told me Dana does.
Mm-hmm. It just depends person to person. Do you listen to him?
I mean, like, I edit them for like 4 hours.
After you edit them, though.
No.
No?
Yeah, it just feels weird.
I do sometimes, which I also feel weird. Like it also comes off as weird. Anyways, Jacob, I asked Blake, how was your day?
How was my day?
How was your day? I asked Blake how his day was.
It was pretty uneventful.
Yeah?
Yeah, I stayed up really late last night, and I woke up at noon today.
Oh my God.
And I just kind of relaxed for a little bit.
Wait, how late did you stay up?
Until about 4 a.m.
Why?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Why?
It just kind of happened that way. Yeah.
I was up till 4 a.m.
What? Were you together?
No, not at all.
I was just on the 3rd floor.
Not at all.
And I wasn't tired.
I mean, I was on the 3rd floor too, but I was in my room.
What were you doing?
I laid out some clothes and then I wasn't tired, so I watched YouTube for like 10 minutes and then fell asleep.
Wait a second.
Those times don't add up.
Yeah, so you came back. Wait, so you left for the weekend, right?
Yeah.
You came back at 11:30.
Yeah.
You laid out clothes.
No. So I came back at 11:30. I parked my car.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see me cop that spot before you pulled in?
Was that you?
Yeah.
That's funny. That's really funny.
I was like, oh, there's Sam. Anyway, pulled in, got my stuff, took it to the dorm, sat in my room for about an hour. Then I went and watched Fantastic Beast with Emily, and then I was done.
Okay, so then you went and laid out clothes.
I went and laid out clothes because I went to church this morning.
Oh yeah, where'd you go?
We went to Perkinsville Baptist Church. It's like on the other side of like New Market Square.
Interesting. I have no clue who that is. But you know, power to you. So Jacob didn't do anything.
Yeah. I mean, that's not new though.
You try and make yourself sound so sad, okay? But don't listen to him. Jacob is a little ray of sunshine in my life, okay?
What are you talking about?
He's just a little ray of sunshine.
When am I ever a ray of sunshine?
And he just oh,
there's Evan.
He tries to hide it. He tries to hide the ray, and I take it as a compliment because I think that he keeps that little ray of sunshine just for me.
Just for you.
Just for me.
All right, let's move on.
Oh my God. Also, just for anybody that's listening and just also for you, Blake, one of my favorite things is to make Jacob uncomfortable because Jacob, like me and Jacob have such like vastly different personalities.
Okay, while we're on the topic of uncomfortable, we'll get to asking you questions in a second. I know this is a long time. Can you tell Liam to stop touching me all the time? You guys are good friends. I feel like he'll listen to you. Every time I see that dude, he like runs his fingers through my hair.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have you told him to stop?
Yeah, every time.
Oh.
I'll talk to him. He has a hard time with that.
Please.
He has a hard time.
He almost sat on my lap the other day.
Oh.
I think it was like a couple weeks ago. He just like put his legs on top of me and I couldn't move. Because I'm tiny and he's a wall of man.
He is a wall of man.
Yeah.
Anyways. Blake. So Aaron Blake Williams, where did the Blake come from? Like when did you start going by Blake?
Birth.
Really?
Yeah, so mom always called me Blake and my family's always called me Blake. But she's fitting the trend, and by that she is Amber Bell Williams. My dad is Andrew Lewis Williams. And Carson is Andrew Carson Williams, so I was Aaron Blake Williams. We all have A first names.
Interesting.
Carson goes by his middle name because he's Andrew Carson Williams.
Mm-hmm.
But
what did your dad go by?
Andrew.
Interesting. So you're from, where are you from?
I'm from Newland, North Carolina.
Isn't that really close to here?
It's like 30 minutes away.
Interesting. That's kind of nice.
How often do you go home since it's 30 minutes away?
You know, when I first got to App, I didn't go home till almost October. Because I just decided to get away, just kind of build a healthy habit. And then I started going home pretty, maybe every 2 weeks, if that. And I've kind of kept that up.
That's good. Because it's good. I feel like that's a big thing that people have a hard time with when they go to college, like so close, is they like go home every weekend.
Yeah.
Or their parents come up every weekend. Like, and I feel like that can sometimes be unhealthy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's also good because I can be like, hey, can you guys bring me this? And they're like, sure.
Yeah.
Do they ever like come up to see you since they're 30 minutes away? Yeah, I've gone out to dinner with them a couple of times. They've come up here and been like, hey, let's go to Mellow Mushroom or let's go to, Lost Providence or something.
Yeah. Where is Lost Providence?
So if you go down Bodenheimer and you go through the light at the bottom up to King Street and go through that light, it's on the right there, like where all that public parking is behind Mass General.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right
there. Is it good?
I like it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. So you said Newland?
Newland.
Did you like growing up there?
Yeah, I mean it's a very small place.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one bad thing is that everyone knows you.
Yeah.
And like you think everyone knows you here or wherever, like literally everyone knows me either from what I did in high school or they know me because my dad's the eye doctor. So,
Oh yeah.
I'm either Blake or I'm Doc's kid.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. That does seem very small town-ish. which is interesting.
Yeah.
Do you feel that sense in like Watauga is a small town too? Like everyone kind of knows.
Yeah,
you?
and you know, I think that's probably one thing I really liked about Watauga when I first came to college was how close everything was, because it is, you know, App's still right there. It's still a huge campus, and it's, you know, but Watauga is just kind of like close people you can talk to and who know you.
Yeah, I think that's a really good like inner community.
Yeah,
within App.
100%.
Yeah. So what's your major, Blake?
My major, I'm a sustainable development major with the concentration in agroecology, with the focus area in agroforestry. I'm gonna get woodland management certificate and my GIS certificate before I graduate.
Oh my gosh. So
I don't know what any of that means.
Yeah, what does that mean?
So, you know, you guys know sustainable development at least, yeah. Mm-hmm. So with sustainable development, you have, I think, 3 concentrations. One's like community and global development. One's agroecology, and I don't even know what the other one is. I just know there's 3 of them. And so the agroecology part is from my passion of permaculture, which is kind of like looking at how ecosystems function and applying that to like how we should be like managing food almost. Because, you know, ecosystems are like really productive, really resilient. And whenever something bad happens, something usually takes its place, per se. And I really like that kind of idea. So like the ultimate goal is to one day have my own little permaculture orchard, have a grass base heritage breed kind of, you know, farm, and just enjoy creation, enjoy my wife and my kids, you know.
That's interesting. Do you think that part of like this, like a big part of like that major comes from like where you grew up?
You know, I would say yes, because, you know, I've always grown up in the woods. You know, I could literally walk outside my back door and just be gone for hours, you know. And I think it came from that. It came from a couple different experiences in high school, because, you know, when I was in the 6th grade, I decided, you know, want to go to NC State, want to go mechanical engineering, specialize in wind turbines, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You know, my parents hate when I do that. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. Because it's like, what are you talking about? But you know, I kind of had a realization in high school. It was just kind of like, that's not going to make me happy. And so I kind of found what was going to make me happy, and that was being outside, being with my family, just being happy and ready to roll out of the bed every day.
Interesting. Yeah, that's actually really interesting that you chose like to go to like a smaller school in search for a different major, because of like really like, because it sounds, I don't know a whole lot, but you were in like the general same idea of field. Like you're still in the idea of like sustainability, but like now I feel like it's like the way you describe it, it sounds like it's a lot more in your hands instead of just being like, I mean,
I would agree it's a lot more in my hands, but I think it was part of a bigger picture, and that's just my faith talking. Because, you know, when I started applying for colleges, I still applied to state and I applied to App, the only 2 schools I applied for. And I worked my ass off my whole senior year, and I'll say it because, you know, I did. And I got the same amount of money to both schools and scholarships. And it covered everything at App, and it didn't cover everything at state. And that was one thing. The other thing was I don't like concrete. And if I went to state, it'd just be like concrete.
What do you mean you don't like the sight of concrete?
It angers him.
I completely just rage. Just like, oh gosh, what is this right here? It's hard driving on interstates. Anyway, so like if you were to go walk around on state's campus for a day and then come to App, you'd just be like, oh my gosh, there's so much more life here. You know, I can see the knob over here, and it's so pretty watching the sunrise come up every day over it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's just an amazing place to live. Mm-hmm. And I don't like crazy amounts, like large populations of people, because, you know, it's just like, I don't know, I'm just paranoid. And I've never grown up in that environment. Mm-hmm. So I felt like to be successful, this environment would be more successful for me.
Interesting. This is kind of a weird question, but do you think if you had grown up in an environment that was like a big city, you still would have found your way to your interest that you have now? Or you would have gone to something totally different?
You know, I mean, I could say either way, because I could say, oh yeah, 100%, I'm you know, dead set on this, born to do this. But, you know, I felt like I got led to this. So, you know, in the other sense, you know, maybe I would have been led to something else. So, you know, it's whatever. It's just whatever makes you happy.
Mm-hmm. If you were to choose like a different aspect of like life, kind of like if you were to choose a different major and like a different way for your life to go, which way do you think you would choose? Like if you had like a backup plan.
If I had a backup plan, then, you know, it's interesting you asked that, because I just started thinking about it recently. I'd probably go into biology, and I'd probably go into mycology, which is the study of mushrooms.
Interesting.
Where is that coming from?
So I'm a plug a podcast here, and if you have like a whole Friday or Saturday night to listen to it, it's really eye-opening and really interesting. Mm-hmm. But
hey, Jacob, bleep this out because I can't listen to any podcasts but ours. But okay, go ahead.
Anyway, it's one of Joe Rogan's podcasts, and he's interviewing Paul Stamets, mm-hmm. and he's a crazy kind of earthy mycologist he's a permaculturalist like me, but he's also his field of study is mycology, mm-hmm. and he looks at how mycology can save the world practically. You know, if you Google Paul Stamets on YouTube, you'll see like 7 medical talks. You'll see like a couple TEDx talks, you know, mm-hmm. and he's what he comes up with from mycology is really cool. Like he came up with this plan on how to take straw, inoculate, giant wine cap mushrooms and oyster mushrooms, 2 very popular edible mushrooms readily available, mm-hmm. and filter out E. coli and other hydrocarbons from water. So like pesticides and herbicides and all this, and make it completely sterile. And so that's, you know, he's growing it on hay, which is very cheap for one. Mm-hmm. He's growing it with readily available materials, and he's cleaning water with it. So you're getting clean water and you're getting a food product from it, which in third world application is crazy. You know, that's like, why aren't we doing this everywhere? But, you know.
Yeah. That's interesting. Jacob, you made a face over there.
I never thought that something like that was going to be something that saves lives. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it's just something that nobody thinks about, but...
Well, I mean, that's not the only thing he talks about, and don't quote me on this, but I think when he wrote his first book on mycology, because he found mycology when he was like 15 or 16, but he wrote his first book on mycology when he was like, I want to say 19 years old, had it written before he was 18 and published when he was 19 years old. And it was the definitive guide to psilocybin mushrooms. Damn. And if you know what psilocybin mushrooms are, they're psychedelic.
Ooh.
So, but he talks about how psilocybin mushrooms cause neurogenesis, and, you know, which is the regrowth of neurons in the brain and in like your fingers and like your whole nervous system. Mm-hmm. And how, you know, this is a crazy, more effective medicine than what we conventionally treat Alzheimer's with, or dementia, or PTSD, or any of these neurological injuries.
Mm-hmm. Huh. That's really interesting. I feel like that's one of those things where like could help a lot of people, but it's also there's such a huge taboo around it that it would take an arm and a leg to convince anybody to.
Oh yeah, there's no way that like you can make that so widespread and readily available. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's one of those huge advocates for it, but it's going to take a lot more research into it, and there is research out there. Yes,
especially because it's something that like not a lot. Nobody knows about that.
Yeah,
that's not even close to public knowledge.
You get saved
Blake,
right there. Hey,
to get back more into the personal side, get back more into Blake. So where'd you go to high school?
I went to Avery County High School.
Avery County High. Avery County, baby.
That sounds familiar. Does anyone from Watauga come from there? Oh no.
Nope,
okay, never
just me. I had a graduating class of 145 people.
Dang, oh boy. Did you like high school?
I did like high school. I was pretty competitive. I'd like to say I was a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah. Would you say you were different in high school?
No. It depends on which version of me in high school you look at. And I feel like that's true for anyone. Mm-hmm. I feel like I haven't changed much since I was about 17.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
You seem like someone that's always been kind of like mellow and chill. Yeah,
I was a lot more competitive in high school. I like the whole time I was in school, never made a B, always made A's. Ended up graduating 4th in my class with a 5.03 GPA. Went to states in track and in wrestling. I was way too active, and then I got all college paid for. So it
was worth it.
It's worth it, but then you look back and you're like, it's hard adjusting because you want to keep doing everything, but then you just can't. Mm-hmm. Like wrestling's been really hard to adjust from because it's like you want to go back and wrestle, you want to go do all this stuff. Like this past weekend, I watched 2 kids who I've beat the wheels off of win state championships, and I'm like, you know what? And I have to live with that.
Yeah.
And I had a friend sitting right next to me. He's like, I should have beat those kids. Da da da. I was like, yeah, and you have 1 year you can go back and fix that. Yeah. I don't. I have to sit here year after year.
Dang. That's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but it's a part of life. There's much more happier things to focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you wrestled and you did track. What did you do in track?
I threw shot put and discus. Mm-hmm. Through shot put and discus, and then my senior year I kind of really my junior year I stopped really throwing shot put, and I'd just throw it to throw it, would never practice it, and I started practicing discus. I got a really good coach my junior year, and I went from throwing like 95 feet to like 127.
That's crazy.
And then I think my farthest I threw my senior year was 133.
That is crazy. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
All these different things that you did, were they all things that like you had a specific interest in, or were they just you were filling up your time with things to do?
I'd always had interests in things. I'd always been interested in wrestling, always liked discus. Everything else in high school was really just to fill up time, and shout out to anyone who wants to look good on college resumes, diversify yourself and be active, because you just get more opportunities and more open doors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. Do you you did the sports, and I'm just gonna take a wild guess and say you didn't, but you're not here on scholarship for those sports.
No, I actually had a tryout for discus, and about 3 weeks before classes started, I was just kind of like, I don't want to make college about sports. Mm-hmm. I want to just go fresh start and just go have fun.
Do you think you might consider doing track later on in your college career?
No. I'd like to. I really would. But then I'd have to start working out again. I'd have to start throwing discus again, and it's there's other things I can fill my time with and be happy just as much.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So you were in this Avery County High. How did you, like, what got you to Watauga? Like, did you seek out Watauga or?
Well, I, like anyone else in Watauga, I clicked a box, and I don't know. I had a friend who was in ACES, and he knew I didn't want to go into teaching, and he said, just apply for Watauga. And I was taking what he said at face value and just was like not really looking into it. And then, once you get that letter, you're like, oh, dang, what is this? Yeah. And you start looking it up, and you're like, oh, well, do I want to do that? And the thing that really concreted app was I came here to go look at the LLC, and I didn't drive the road up. Like, me and my girlfriend parked at the parking deck, and we walked all the way up the stairs, everything. Yeah. And me being so interested in SD and permaculture and all this stuff, walking up in the springtime, all the gardens were out and everything, and there were people out working in them, and I was just kind of like, yeah, no, this is definitely where I want to be. Yeah. Like, the garden's right there, my major is housed right here in the LLA. It really connected everything. I was like, yep, Watauga.
So you think if you didn't do Watauga, would you have done something else?
I definitely would have come to app for sure, because the agroecology degree at State is 2 classes different from a soil scientist, and I didn't want to be a soil scientist. So, I was looking at semester layouts of app's SD agroecology degree, and was liking the classes a whole lot more.
Interesting. Have you changed your major at all while you were here?
I have not.
Yeah, you've just been steady on the course.
You might be the only person here that hasn't changed their major.
Yeah, but you got to know me, and I just over prepare for everything, and I'm just kind of like, well, I have that backup plan to that backup plan, and if that doesn't work, well, we'll forget that and just move on.
Huh. I feel like there's such a range of like Wataugans, because there's like there's the kind that like came in, they're like, I know what I want to do and I'm here to do that, and there's a kind like Iris we talked to last week, who's changed her major 4 times.
100%.
But then there's also like I was just thinking about like the diversity of like you said, like you just clicked a box. Well, there's other people who like worked, who wanted to be in Watauga so bad. Like, there's some people who want to be in Watauga so bad, and like now they're here. But like I just clicked a box, you know what I'm saying? You just like clicked a box. So it's interesting that there's like people who were like heard about it and really want to be in it.
Well, it's all just how the system works too, because this year is the first year they actually had the Watauga essay in the application process. So before then, if you click that box, you just got put into a pool, and it's on the scholarship thing. So you're like, yeah, I'll click every box, and if I get it, I get it, There's not an additional essay to write. But in doing that, I feel sorry for the selection committee, because there'd be a lot of people to go through. And that's, they tell you that when you first get here. So. Yeah.
So Blake, are you a mentor for next semester?
I am a mentor for next semester.
So why did you decide to go for another year?
Because, I feel like I've gotten a lot out of Watauga, a lot of community, a lot of learning, a lot of growing experience from that. And, whenever I feel like something's contributed to me, I feel like I have to contribute back. And so that's basically why I want to be a mentor, is just to contribute back, because I've had a great experience in Watauga.
Yeah. So do you have any like specific things? Like, do you have any specific like ideas for next year to improve?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like as mentors, we should be a little bit more involved, but that always depends on who your mentee is, who your mentee is, and who you are as a person, and like, I'm not going to force a friendship if you don't want to be friends. That's not what college is about.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people complain about that. Like mentors, there are a lot of mentors that don't affiliate with their mentees a lot, but that's not just blamed on the mentors. Like a lot of mentees don't reach out to their mentor at all, and that's their fault that their mentors aren't really hanging out with them.
Yeah, I feel like that's fair.
Yeah. My mentor asked me to go to dinner with him a bunch of times, and I said no. Because I don't know. I just didn't really know him that well and didn't care to. I didn't have any questions. I felt fine. Didn't need a mentor.
Who's your mentor?
Dominic Gardella, I think his last name is.
I think I've met him.
No one really knows him. He's just kind of around.
Who's your mentor?
Owen. I don't remember Owen's last name.
I think it's Wilson.
On the third floor. Yeah, maybe.
Wait, is his name really Owen Wilson?
I don't think so.
I have Hannah Dalmas, and like me and Hannah have this very special relationship where we see each other, we speak, and that is it. And that's all we really need from each other.
Me and Owen have gone fly fishing several times, but and if I've ever had a question about something, like before my mentor interview, I was like, hey, is there anything I should talk about, or is there, what advice would you give me for this process? And he's just like, just go in there, be yourself, just answer every question like you would truthfully, and just trust the process.
It's interesting.
But any other projects? I'd like to have an orchard right out here.
Oh yeah, you mentioned wanting to do an orchard instead of a trail day.
Yeah, because
that would be cool.
Just like right out here on this green space, because that's something that each year Wataugans could contribute to, and they look for something like multi-generational of Wataugans. And so I could come back in 10 years with my kids, or with hopefully not my kids in 10 years, but with people in 10 years and be like, hey, I helped plant this orchard.
Yeah,
or stuff like that.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Blake, is there anything you want to promote? Anything going on you want to talk about?
I don't
you
think
any
so.
Clubs on campus?
I'm in a couple clubs, but nothing really to promote.
Yeah. Well, Jacob, do you have anything you want to say?
No. I don't. This is about everything I have going on right now is this podcast. So.
That means so much to me, Jacob.
Does it really?
I just want you to know that.
I don't mean it to.
How are you, Sam?
I mean, I'm good. I'm Gucci.
We never asked how you've been doing. How was your day?
It was good.
Before we wrap this up. That's it? You're just going to give us good?
My little brother came to town. He spent the night last night.
Yeah, why'd your little brother come? You introduced me to your little brother last night.
He just wanted to... We haven't seen each other in a while. Even though spring break is next week, I just wanted to bring him up, and I wanted him to hang out and meet a bunch of people. Because I don't know, me and my brother were like really close when I was in high school, and then like when we went to college, because when my older brother, because I have an older brother, and me and him weren't as close, but like when he went to college, we kind of just like, we didn't really want to bother him, so we didn't talk to him that much. So I don't want Ben to feel like that, because I don't do that much. So I'm like, you can always text me, like that's not that big of a deal. But we just don't talk as much, so I want to bring him up and hang out with him and
how old is he?
He's 14.
14. Okay.
Yeah. Freshman in high school.
Nice.
Well,
I guess on that note, nice to meet you, brother.
You can always find us, ladies and gentlemen. We're past Ben. We're past the brother.
Okay.
You can always find us on SoundCloud at where's it?
SoundCloud.com/Watauga
Excuse me. www.
Okay.
.soundcloud.com/Watauga podcast. Just look us up. What's up, Watauga? Watauga podcast. Something will pop up eventually. Blake, it has been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you for having me, Sam and Jacob.
It has been a great conversation. As always, Jacob, it's always good to see you.
It is good to see Jacob.
It is.
This is weird
because like he's always in his room.
I don't like this at all.
He's always in his room eating Hungry Howie's, and so it's hard to catch him.
I got Hungry Howie's the other day. It was amazing.
He says the other day like it wasn't 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I had to wait 2 hours for that Hungry Howie's. So, Hungry Howie's, step up your game, or I'm going somewhere else. I'm your biggest customer. Treat me right.
Is that a true story? Like You ordered it and it took 2 hours?
It took 2 hours.
Oh my god!
I called them twice and they were like, "It's on the way." Both times I was like, better be.
A lot of deliveries.
I'm hungry.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. What's up, Watauga? Bye.
Bye.
Great outro.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.